Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this afternoon with Rome and Rich, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is your puppy's ability to understand and respond to his formal on-leash obedience commands, the correction and the motivation that we give the puppies when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Rich is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of the leash folded neatly in his right hand. That leaves his left hand free to give any correction that's needed. And the only correction that we give is a little tug and release on the training collar. And that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Rome is going to go home with his very own training equipment, and you're going to be taught how to use that properly during your follow-up training session. Now, if you notice, Rome is sitting very nicely at Rich's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done. And the first exercise that they're going to demonstrate for us is heeling. Heeling is proper walking on a leash without jumping up, grabbing the leash, grabbing your clothes, walking at your pace, and the command is Rome, heel.
Rome, heel.
Now at this point, Rome has a job to do, and that is to walk nicely next to your left leg, not forging ahead or lagging behind, not grabbing the leash in his mouth, not jumping up and grabbing your clothing, but walking like a gentleman. And each time that you stop your feet, he has been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for his next command. So when you stop to cross traffic or talk to someone, he should be sitting nicely at your left and waiting for his next command. And he's doing a great job of demonstrating this. Now the next command that we're going to demonstrate for you is the sit-stay.
Stay. Oh, no.
You got an automatic down here.
Stay.
The sit-stay is a hand and a voice command, and because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. You're going to practice this sit-stay everywhere you go, in your house, at the shop. You're going to lengthen it out to 3 minutes. Start out at about 30 seconds. When Rich returns back to him, he walks all the way around him as an additional distraction, and your puppy should remain seated until Rich gets back to where they started at heel position and gives him the next command.
Rome, heel.
So it's all about focus, paying attention to you, taking all of his cues from you. And I think his biggest problem is that he's just an ornery puppy. He's very puppy-ish.
Stay.
Rich leaves him in a sit-stay. He backs up to the end of his training leash. He has him hold it to develop focus and self-control. And this time, instead of returning back to him, Rich is going to demonstrate the come-on command. Rome is supposed to come in and sit right in front of you, facing your knees. No jumping up, no putting his feet on you in any way, or anyone else for that matter. And then he goes back to heel position. And if you notice, everything starts and stops at that heel position with him at your left. When you stop, nice automatic sits. So everything is about control, paying attention.
Stay.
Rich leaves him in another sit-stay, walks out to the end of the training leash, and you're going to lengthen this out. So he starts to hold it longer and longer. And then he's going to call him. So it's Rome, come. And if you notice, like, he's not barreling in at Rich. He's walking in nicely like a gentleman, then he goes back to heel and back sitting. He's such a baby. He's a lover. He likes to sit on your feet. He loves to be loved. And we want to keep it that way. He's impressive enough, just the breed that he is. We want him to stay nice and friendly. Now the next command that we're going to demonstrate for you is the down from a heel position. So you start with your dog seated at your left. You're going to take your left open palm, push it straight down toward the ground, and give the one-word command to down and stay. Your long down stay, you're going to start out at about 1.5 to 2 minutes and work all the way up to 5 minutes. And eventually drop the leash, be able to walk away. He's young and these are basics, but it's a really good foundation when it comes to starting work with a Cane Corso early, which you did, and that was very smart on your part. When Rich returns back to him, he walks again all the way around him. Cane is to remain lying down until Rich gives him the next command. Rich stops at his shoulders and then gives him the next command. And he tells him to heel. And one thing about these guys, because they're big and they're hot dogs, with the weather changing and it getting hotter, make sure that, you know, he's comfortably in air conditioning, climate controlled, because he overheats easily. And that was one of the things today. Our first sunny day, we didn't want him to get too hot and fade when he was doing his training, but it's nice and shady back here. So that's your down from a heel, your down stay, and Rich can either return or call him. Comes in and sits very nicely. You want to keep that going. Back to heel and back sitting. He's a mush face. And the very last command that we're going to demonstrate for you is the down from a distance. This is a little bit harder because you're not right next to your dog. You're going to have him sit and stay. You're going to turn to face him. You're going to use your right hand to give the command. And he goes down from a distance. And that was picture perfect, Mr. Room. Now, we have demonstrated for you all of Rome's formal on-leash obedience commands. You're going to be working with him on Sunday with Rich as your coach to teach you how to get him to do all these things for you, and then you can use your video to work with at home. We've enjoyed having him. He's a sweet puppy, and we want to thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.